This is Elisa Balsamo and you are listening to the Will Toll podcast. Today's Giro d'Italia Stage 2 from Clusone to Aprica.
Loren, hey, how's it going?
It's good, Abby. I'm still enjoying the Italian sun, and I had like the full Italian experience this weekend with, the espresso and a brioche for breakfast. No cappuccino before 12, so I can't complain.
Actually, you were on the ground at the Giro, and you told us yesterday that there wasn't a ton of, Bergamo didn't paint itself pink for the women's Giro, but did you get a sense that the race is much changed from when you were racing? We talk all the time about the chaotic mess that was the Giro before RCS took over last year. What did you think of the race, viewing it from the outside, having known what it was like in the past?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's, from the outside looking in, it was well run. I got to catch up with a few of my athletes, some of them who are seasoned pros, and we did talk about the Wild Wild West days of the Giro and what that was like. And they said definitely since RCS has taken it over, it's a huge change. I mean, you know what the stages are beforehand, not the day that you arrive, basically, at the Giro.
Really helps.
Even one of the press officers was saying when it was the Sicily start, they didn't know how actually they were getting the whole peloton and everyone involved in the race from Sicily to the mainland.
Classic. It
was that evening that they got some information, and then it was a mad rush the morning after. So I know that stuff's not happening. It's just a bit of a shame, and we won't talk about it too much, the fact that it clashes with the Tour de France. So of course there are no journalists here except for the Italians. I really didn't see anyone I knew, even in terms of agents. I think Emma from Bespoke, of course, is here, but I didn't really see that many agents on the ground. It just felt quiet, but it's a stellar field, and we'll go into that today with what we saw on the road. But a really good field. A few of these women are going across to the Tour de France Femme, and everyone's kind of happy that it is a little bit quieter in a sense, because the results are still important, but not having the eyes as such on the ground, or as much of a presence in the media, is disappointing, but it doesn't seem to be affecting the riders or the teams, because they know it's changing next year.
Well, we will continue to do our little podcast and try to bring some attention to the race, even with the behemoth of the tour going on at the same time. Stage 2 of the Giro d'Italia was excellent. Yesterday, Georgie and I said this had the potential to be a bit of a GC day, and I'm not going to lie, in my wildest dreams, I did not think that the jersey was going to change hands after the stage day. I thought Reusser had this one wrapped up, but no. Anna Henderson went on the attack with 41 kilometers to go. Her and Dilixine Mirmont got a 3-minute lead at one point, and they went into the bottom of the climb with 2 minutes, which meant that they had the stage. Henderson took her first World Tour victory, first individual victory in a Grand Tour, and the pink jersey, which I just got goosebumps saying it. I'm a huge fan of Anna Henderson, and I think that we've said time and time again this season that we've been disappointed in Little Trek this year. They've had a huge turnover in the riders on the team, and this is really such a big result for them. I'm just so happy for Anna.
Yeah, I think the way Little Trek raced today was what we've seen before a few years ago, right? Just how they used to race and execute so well and pick the stages where they really knew that it could be, there would be hesitation maybe from the GC riders for the likes of riders like Henderson and Mirmont. Two really strong riders, we have to say. Mirmont, she's not a nobody, but with the situation with Serratiz, I'm so happy for a rider like that to get a second, almost clutch the win, going forwards with the new direction of whatever team she ends up in. But yeah, great tactics. They were present, they were aggressive, and, Henderson is clearly in great form. And yeah, I think that the main talking point, other than the excitement around Anna, taking the win and now stepping into that beautiful pink jersey, is what happened in Group 2 and who wasn't there. because when I just scroll through the results here, there's some notable mentions. For example, today we didn't think it was like a big GC day. It's not one of the hardest stages by any means. There's just so much more to come. But for example, Isabella Helmgren, I think she had a fantastic day. AG Insurance had I think the most amount of riders in that group, with 4 of them, including Gigante, Ushka, Zigat, Laura Diskepa, and Ashmi Mullen-Pasio, which we should probably talk about. Barely raced this season, and what a day that she had. But then unfortunately for SD Works, it looks like Becky didn't have the legs today. I don't know if she went too deep in the time trial. That's something that can happen sometimes when you just go that deep in such a short effort. But for the team in general, I feel, I guess they were the biggest losers for the day.
Yeah, I mean, I want to really highlight how great Anna's victory was. Then we definitely need to run through that group too, because it was where the GC battle was really playing out. Anna, on paper, not the strongest climber of that duo. Mirmont, if you just run through her results, she would appear to be a stronger climber than Anna. But all Anna had to do was hang on for that one section of 11% on the climb, and then she knew she was in the perfect position, and she stopped pulling through with 1 kilometer to go, so she had a little bit extra to kick in the final and take the stage. So I think just brilliant. We say sometimes, if you want to learn how to win a bike race, you watch specific rides, and this was one of them. Just such a brilliant ride from her. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that in Group 2, there really wasn't an organized chase. They basically parked the peloton when those 2 got away, and it took 22 kilometers for the first attack to go, and another 26 kilometers. It wasn't until 48 kilometers into a 92 kilometer stage that there was actually an attack that stuck, and it was Henderson's attack. And so it's such a short stage, and it took so long for the break to go. I think that no one wanted to take it up, and wearing the pink jersey, you would think that Movistar would maybe want to keep that in check, especially because Henderson was 6th in the time trial. She was only 22 seconds down on Reusser going into the stage, and they really let her ride away. She had the virtual lead from, 2 kilometers after attacking. But Movistar was really not present in that group at all. I was really surprised that Reusser was isolated really, really early on, and she herself made an attack with 9 kilometers to go that really shelled a lot of riders from that group, including momentarily Anna van der Breggen, who went down earlier in the stage. And I don't know what it is with her comeback, but she's crashed quite a bit this season, I've noticed. Crashing Amstel Gold, crashing at Zulia, and now she's crashed in this second stage of the Giro. So I just really hope that she's all right. We want her to be on top form to contend. It's more fun. It's more fun that way if you have a bunch of riders, But Movistar was nowhere. And I don't know if it was the attack that Reusser put down with 9K to go that really split the group, that isolated her. But in the end, it was UAE Team ADQ with Silvia Persico doing a lot of the chasing on that climb. But at that point, the race was up the road. The win was up the road. They weren't going to pull them back, and they lost the stage before they even hit the base of the climb. And they still went up that climb at a rapid pace. I mean, for a climb that only averaged 5%, for the group to be a group of 22 riders, they were going so fast up that climb. And Persico did such an incredible effort.
Yeah, and on that point, I mean, if you just scroll down the results, that leading group, a lot of people were there that we thought would be there. But then, of course, from FDJ-Suez, I mean, Lea Curinier and Eva Music weren't there. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, back to my point, even Liana Lippert should have been in that group. So to that point, maybe it was just one of those days where, you just don't have the legs. I guess we'll know as the stage race goes on. But in terms of the pink jerseys changing hands, I don't think Russo will be too fast. It's, we still have so many days to go, and you don't necessarily want to hold that jersey the whole time anyway. All her goal is to probably win a stage and walk away with it on her back. So from Movistar's perspective, I don't think they're too concerned, even though she was isolated in that group. I guess we're going to see in the coming days how her team lines up, but normally they've come here with quite a good team who would be able to support that ambition, because you don't say that you want to win the Giro and then bring a team that can't support that ambition. So I'm not too concerned about that. And yeah, about Rusa, she looks in great form. I mean, great time trial yesterday. She didn't look in any trouble today, as we would have expected. I think there's just more to come now. And yeah, for SD Works, hopefully moving forwards, it goes a bit better for them.
I mean, I think like 15 seconds she's lost to Anna in the GC now, and there was more significant drops in the general classification, which we definitely will talk about. But I think like for Reusser, maybe she's better off not having the pink jersey now going into the next couple stages, and instead playing offense instead of defense, because I think, yes, of course, Little Trek is going to try to hang on to that jersey as long as they can. Anna said in her post-race interview that they're here for stage wins, but they're not going to hand over the lead if they have it. So they had such a great group of riders in that final group. They had, like you mentioned, Isabella Holmgren. They had Spratty Sprat. They had Shirin up there as well. And now Shirin is 6th in the GC and Anna's leading it. So I think Little Trek they're going to do everything they can to try to keep that status quo. But Reusser, if in fact her team is not as strong as they appear to be, she's going to be happy not to be leading the race right now and making them ride the front. I think the biggest loser on the day, I mean, I don't like that term. It's a little bit negative. But like the one rider who I think I was the most surprised by was Lotte Kopecky, who lost 2 minutes in the GC. She dropped to 24th in the GC, 2 minutes, 9 seconds down. So she's definitely fully out of the general classification now for the Giro. And this wasn't her target. Her target is the Tour. But if she's losing that much time on a climb like this to a group that big, then I don't think the Tour is a realistic goal for her anymore this season.
Yeah, and I guess we don't know the situation with Kopecky, what her lead-in has been. I mean, she hasn't raced since May, I believe, so this is her first race back in a long time after lots of training. Yeah, the Tour is less than 3 weeks away, but yeah, maybe she's come into this race with very specific stages that she's targeting, and then it's all in for those stages and trying not to worry too much about what else happens around that. We don't know what's happening within that team, but it's all going to unfold pretty soon as these days go on. And yeah, the race continues and only gets harder, and that fatigue just continues to build. So
you mentioned FDJ-Suez, and we have an audio diary from Lea Curinier as well, so we should hear what she had to say.
So today it was the real start. So yeah, it was a short race, not long, really speed, with a really hectic start. Yeah, it was a bit chaotic sometimes, but we trained to be safe at the front, and yeah, the girl did a good job also for the positioning. But we had a bit bad day. Yeah, the legs were not really here, so that was hard for Evita and me. And Juliette, she tried to follow the first group, but yeah, finally it was hard until the end. But tomorrow it will be a new day, and we're still in the game, so everything can be possible. So I hope, the legs we will be back. But yeah, we keep the same spirit, and we try to stay together and focus for the next day. So just let's see what can happen. The Giro is still long, so we are ready for the fight.
One of the strongest teams in that group, and a team that put riders on the front from the very base of the climb, was AG Insurance-Soudal. And Sarah Gigante has an audio diary for us.
Hello everyone at Escape Collective, it's Sarah Gigante here, coming to you after a short but pretty fast stage 2. The profile looked better than what we got. Like if you just look at the profile without looking at the numbers on the side, then it looked like some epic mountain stage. But I was expecting, we were taking bets. I was betting with my DS Danny that we'd have 45 people come to the line in a sprint, and to my pleasant surprise, because I like a harder race, it was actually a lot more reduced than that. So we had 2 riders off the front, with Anna Henderson taking a super strong win from the breakaway, and then a group of about 20 riders behind, my team, AG Insurance-Soudal, had 4 riders in that 20, so that's great. And that was our objective for the day, not lose time on GC with Ash, Ushka, me, Laura was also there. So, yeah, we achieved our goal. No stage result, but, yeah, it was a good day. Tried to save energy. And for me, the big win was my team told me you can chill at the back all day, but at kilometre 77, make sure you're at the front because the steep climb, really steep part of this long gradual climb, starts at 79. So be there or be square. Okay, I added the be square part, but that was in my head, like be there or be square. And somehow I was first. I was literally first place at 79. So that was cool. I was like, oh, it's much easier starting a 12% climb at the front rather than at the back of 153 people. So yeah, good job to me for that, if I do say so myself. But yeah, good stage, and looking forward to stage 3, which has a nice climb at the start to hopefully reduce the peloton again. Although then I'm sure it will be a big sprint after that. But I look forward to the immediate future, which is that big climb. Or I guess immediate future is dinner. So yes, enjoy.
Obviously, one of the big winners on the stage in terms of the general classification and her goals for this race was Elise Longoborghini, who is in 3rd overall, but is now, I mean, if you assume that Henderson will lose the jersey later in the race around, I'm assuming, stage 7 or so, maybe even the next mountaintop stage, Elise Longoborghini is 2nd in the real GC, we can call it. 16 seconds behind Reusser, and I think that's going to make her pretty confident in her ability to have a strong performance at this Giro.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a few GC riders have lost time today. I even saw, Barbara Malcozzi from Human Powered Health did lose a little bit of time today. I wonder what will come later, because this is a really hard Giro, and that's one point all the riders were making to me is how hard it is. So I feel even though some riders made that front group today, there is a chance that everything is going to, do a complete 180 with what we see in the results, because it was a very different sort of stage today. And it was starting to rain. And again, to my point about that time trial, sometimes riders don't back up so well after such a hard effort like that. So, yeah, I'm really curious what's going to be happening this week, and it's school holidays, so I can tune in every day, thankfully. And it's earlier starts, so yeah, you can combine the both. You can watch the Giro and the Tour de France.
Well, let's hear from Elise Longoborghini's teammate Brodie Chapman.
Hello, reporting from stage 2 of the Giro, and it was fast and furious, but for me, one of the best parts of the day was not only my teammates being in the final, but actually the start, being on the team presentation with mostly all Italian riders and a couple of local legends such as Silvia Persico, was very special because the crowd was super excited to see them, and everybody was like, I don't know, it felt like our team had some celebrities on it, obviously Italian champion Elisa. And then, we rode through some really, really cool picturesque Italian villages full of pink flags and excited people. And that was pretty awesome to try and take in. But then quickly it went to business mode, and we had a lot of descending, a lot of tailwind, and a lot of fresh legs. So it was a bit of a wild day out there. I feel like I was caught napping a few times, but luckily no napping on the tarmac like some of our poor unfortunate souls. Yeah, and so that's how racing goes. But tomorrow is almost the opposite. So we'll be starting up a climb, which hopefully suits my capabilities a bit better. But yeah, that was the day. So thanks, Italy, for putting on a show for the Women's Giro.
Another team worth mentioning, and who have had like a really good, I would say, second half to the Spring Classics season and all throughout May, has been Uno X. So I think they're building a really strong GC team. They have great climbers, and Catherine Alarud, who's been really great 2024, 2025 season, some good results, was really strong today. The team was aggressive. And I think that they're going to be pretty high up in this race. I wouldn't be surprised if they walked away with 1 or 2 stage wins just in the way they're racing. So we're going to hear from Rebecca Koerner,
Hi, Rebecca here, and here's an update from stage 2 of the Giro d'Italia. We started the drive there, and then we ended up being a bit delayed because there was a lot of traffic. So when we were at the race, we were really busy, so we had to pin our numbers super quickly. And then we went to the team presentation and then to the start, and it was not as warm as expected either. And then at the start, I was chatting a little bit to some different riders, and then we started in neutral through the city, which was really nice. And I think, who was it who started? Maybe Longo or someone like Anna van der Breggen, who took the candy out of the neutral car. And then some of us, we had some candy before starting. That was quite funny. Then I talked a little bit to Maud Odemann and some other riders there. It's always nice to catch up in the neutral. But then when the race started, it was really fast and everybody wanted to be in front for the downhills. And I ended up not drinking enough water quite soon because our leader, Katrina, she needed a bottle and then I gave her mine. So I was a bit low on water, but then I made it up later in the race. So then we did some kind of positioning into the climb in the middle of the stage, and there the pace was pretty on, and I think quite some girls got dropped on that climb. And I managed to stay in the bunch even though I don't feel really like a climber, but I'm pretty happy about that. And then first the pace was really on, and then suddenly at some point the pace was too high for a lot of riders, so then the break of the two girls got to go, and that was super strong because I was really struggling at this moment. So to be able to attack and ride away from the bunch is just that was really extraordinary performance from the two of them, and then being able to make it to the finish is really impressive. But then we did the lead out into the steep climb, and we managed to put Katrina in a pretty good position, and she also tried a few times to attack up the climb. But it didn't seem like anybody was super keen to kind of counter-attack or keep it going. So, it didn't really go anywhere. And then Anna Henderson ended up winning the sprint of the two in front. And that's, super nice to see. That's a really big victory for her. So, really cadeau to her. Then actually in the end it was pretty cold because it started raining, and then we had to go back to the bus. And I didn't expect to freeze in this Giro, but here we are. So then I had some snacks on the way back because I needed to catch up on some nutrition and had a lot to drink still. And now we're staying in this super nice hotel in the mountains. We have the most beautiful view I've ever had at a hotel. And we're ready to get some sleep done and then ready to fight again tomorrow.
All right, well, that's it for stage 2. I think we could probably talk about it quite a bit because it was such a good stage and there was so much that kind of happened, micro movements in the GC, big movements in the GC, and just an incredible stage win. But we'll wrap it up for now and look to tomorrow, where I think we will have our first sprint finish of the race. It's a category 1 climb to start the stage. But from 17.5 kilometers into the stage, they descend, and then the last 40 kilometers of the stage is very flat. So we're looking at a sprinter stage, and I think Marianne Vos, Lorena Wiebes, Chiara Consoni, those are kind of the key names that we're looking at for a stage victory tomorrow. But it is the Giro, so you never know what could happen. We're going to finish up this podcast today with a special note from Shawn Clarke, director for Live AlUla Jayco. I thought it'd be cool to get a little in the car perspective. So Shawn's going to take us inside the race from a different angle.
Hey, Abby and the Wheel Talk crew. First audio diary from me, and maybe how you can tell from my voice, I certainly have not been riding the Giro today. So maybe a bit of a different perspective. My name's Shawn Clarke, and I'm one of 3 sport directors at this race for Live AlUla Jayco. We have 3 directors here, and although we all overlap, we all have different roles that we're in charge of, and I'm more running the day-to-day on the ground, the daily plans for the riders, organizing the staff and vehicles, making sure everybody is where they need to be on time. And at these bigger races, the women's team gets to run 2 cars. So we have the follow car like in a normal race, car 1, and then we have a second car that we get to use. And today I was in the second car. So my day starts about 20 minutes before the race starts. I'll take off, zip down the road, me and a mechanic and 7 spare bikes on the roof and a bunch of bottles. And we'll get quite a ways ahead of the race and then stop and wait for the race to start. And we have to get out in front of the race envelope. And when we stop, we pick a strategic location. Today was a gelato stop. Often it can be a coffee stop. And then we wait and see what the race situation is. So if it's a breakaway and we're in it, then we'll slot in behind and support the breakaway. And then that way car 1 doesn't have to blast through the peloton, which is always a bit dangerous. And then today we weren't in the break. So what I did is I just sort of went ahead, checked for any pinch points, any dangerous things, any wind that might have come up that we hadn't seen. And I relay that back to car 1. And then we have a point on the road where I would stop and slot in behind. Today it was just before that final climb got steep. So that way anybody who's dropped out of the main group still has support. So if they get a flat or whatever, they're still supported into the finish. And then we can do a little bit of feeding for those in the back group. So yeah, so you don't get to see as much of the racing, but it's still pretty good. And I think today was a pretty exciting stage. Big movers in the GC. I think it was kind of a cool stage going in because it was a really long climb that wasn't very steep, except for one little section in the middle. So it all sort of depended on how hard people wanted to ride before and after to see how much damage they could do. Because I think if it was a bit easier day, we could have actually had a pretty big group coming to the finish. But as it was a pretty small select group. And we had Monica in there. So for us, it was a pretty good day. She's moved up to 5th on GC after a good time trial yesterday. So I think Aprica is a famous Giro stage finish. And our team doctor was telling us last night over dinner that he's had riders win there twice before. So I think it's just a cool little thing that the Giro is adding these famous stages into the women's Giro so we can build some history there as well. So yeah, pretty good day for us. Maybe a little bit of a different perspective for the listeners. And I'll be back at another stage.
This episode was produced, edited, and mixed by Will Jones at Red Bricks Media.